Chapter 75. The assembly of sculptures gathered a little closer by the poolside. Whatever shock they'd felt at Ray's sudden arrival had petered out. They smiled now, with fondness in their eyes and pride in their cheeks. A number of carved animal figures bustled amongst the throng. Plaster white monkeys and apes. Some lizardy-looking fellows darted around the ankles of the others. A bushy-tailed scamp scurried up the legs of one statue and hopped from shoulder to shoulder in the crowd, trying to get a better view of Ray. "Tree shrew," said the man with the cloven thumb. "He's been very excited. Little bugger could hardly contain himself." "What do you think, then?" "Your kith and kin, every one of them. Not a bad-looking bunch, are they?" Certain features of the statues seemed familiar. A nose here, a forehead there, a particular stance, the way their expressions shifted. Ray had a go at a friendly smile as she looked around. It seemed like she was supposed to say something. She opened her mouth, but only bewilderment came out. A nervous, middle-aged man statue stepped forward. Embarrassed by the attention, his hands and fingers tapped restlessly at the ruby-encrusted golden sceptre he was carrying. He handed it to Mr. Thumb and bowed his head. "Your Highness." The statue looked down at the metal bar Ray held, her knuckles still white. It was made of silver and decorated with diamonds, a little crooked at the end where she'd smashed it into the High Priestess. "I see you've already, got yours, Your Majesty," he stammered, unsure where to look. This must have been the statue from whom she'd grabbed what appeared to be a sceptre. "Oh, sorry about that," she said. "Your fifth great Uncle Marvin," Mr. Thumb introduced her. "Do you have the... "Oh, yes, Your Highness, right here." Her ancient uncle turned and took a pair of crowns from a small monkey. "This one is yours, Your Majesty." Ray bowed a little, and he set the silver crown on her head. Turning to the groom, he said, "And this, of course, is yours, Your Highness." Mr. Thumb smiled with enormous satisfaction as Uncle Marvin set a golden crown upon his brow. "Glorious," said Oriana, the High Priestess and Ray's 12th great-grandmother. "The Queen is here. I believe we can begin the ceremony." Ray looked questioningly at Mr. Thumb, way out of her depth. She'd given up attempting to understand anything. Mr. Thumb, however, was having a great time, so she assumed everything was going okay. In fact, he was in his element and taking maximum delight in every moment. "Shall we?" He offered his hand and raised an eyebrow. "Shall we what?" she asked. "Step in the water and get hitched. Take the plunge, so to speak." "Is that..." Ray lowered her voice, her eyes appealing for guidance. "Is that what we're supposed to do?" "I believe it is, Miss Corridon. I hope you'll do me the pleasure." To the great satisfaction of the crowd, she took his hand and the two of them turned and stepped into the water together. As she waded deeper, the hem of her white dress stained a pink red. The spring water was still heavy with sacrificial blood. "Don't spare a thought for them," said Mr. Thumb. "Total wankers. Bad company. Would only have brought shame on you and your good family." Up to their waists, they reached deeper water. The temperature comfortable, the water soft. The man with the cloven thumb searched around for something under the surface. Here we are. He turned and sat down on a submerged ledge, sinking into the water up to his neck. Correct me if I'm wrong, said Ray, sitting down next to him and settling her blooming dress into the pool. But weren't they about to execute you as well? They were, and quite right too. What good is a king without a queen? Terrible disappointment. Better to do away with me and find a better candidate, one who might furnish the kingdom with the royalty it deserves. Weren't you worried I might not show up? Did I look worried? No? Well then. Leaning into her, he spoke in a low, even tone. But I am glad you're here. Thank you. Oriana quietened the chiselled crowd with a few gestures and a brief warning to the tree shrew to keep his chatter down. Brethren and sistren, we are here to witness a union integrated into the body and made complete. Our ritual here today reincarnates the spiritual soul of the body of our beloved daughter. It was once said that the existence of the left does not contradict that of the right. They both exist in everyone. The left is the mirror image of the right. Whenever I feel like that, as a mirror image, I am at one with myself. There is no right and no left side to human society, but there are symmetrical and lopsided people. The lopsided are those who can fulfill only one side of themselves, either left or right. They remain in the childhood state. So here, under the tree of life, Yggdrasil, by the grace of every god there's ever been, we witness and bless your passage to maturity. Would the happy couple please submerge? Ray looked into his green eyes, took a breath, and let herself sink under water with the man with the cloven thumb.